Donald Trump was in court today. Did you see that? The federal appeals court?
Well, I heard it.
Yeah. So he was in federal appeals court. My understanding, didn't need to show up to that, but he chose to show up to that. This basically was a federal appeals court, and they were asking questions, and they were basically arguing the points as to whether or not a president has full immunity because they are a president. And this is obviously part of the Jack Smith case. And there were some questions asked by the judge. This judge, her name is Florence Pan. She asked one of these Trump attorneys who has somehow taken Donald Trump's case, and I actually looked this guy up. He's a smart guy. He was a Rhodes Scholar from Oxford. So he's got credentials, but
he sounds like an idiot.
You ruin your reputation when you're trying to argue for a guy who's forcing you to argue for him.
Right.
My first clip here is going to be the argument that he has with Florence Pan, and Judge Pan, I should say, asks him some pretty poignant questions that he did his best to argue. Let's take a listen.
SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be, and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if he weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is
no. My answer is qualified yes. There's a political process that would have to occur under the structure of our Constitution, which would require impeachment and conviction by the Senate. In these exceptional cases, as the OLC memo itself points out from the Department of Justice, you'd expect a speedy impeachment and conviction. But what the founders.
So this guy does, it sounds like he's like the Vivek Ramaswamy. It's rambling, and you're going to counterpoint whatever pops into your head.
Right.
The clear question was, can a president order somebody from SEAL Team 6 to murder a political opponent, or anybody for that matter,
right,
and get away with it? And he's saying, well, with a qualified yes. So basically what they would do is go through an impeachment, and, and then a conviction. And so
a Senate impeachment conviction.
So Donald Trump went through 2 impeachments. One was as clear as day. Actually, I take that back. Both of them were as clear as day. But you had a Senate who basically said, no, he's good, and did not convict him.
But what were the reasons, though? Remember, because Mitch McConnell was like, well, we're not going to do it because we're going to let the justice system in the court handle it.
Well, damn it. I tried to pull this clip, and for some reason it would not let me do it. I'm going to see, I'm going to try this right now. This doesn't look great, but I don't care. We're going to look and see if I can find a way that I can show this clip, because have you seen the Twitter account Mueller, She Wrote?
I didn't see what they posted about this.
Okay, so here it is. Okay, so I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't download it, but I'm going to share this screen so maybe we can see it. And this was during the impeachment, what Trump's attorneys were arguing during the impeachment, which I found pretty fascinating. So let's take a look and see, which side should win out here. Tell me if you could see this. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Article 1, Section 3 says judgments in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold any office of honor, trust, profit under the United States, but the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. So this idea of a January amnesty is nonsense. If my colleagues on this side of the chamber actually think that President Trump committed a criminal offense, and let's understand, a high crime is a felony and a misdemeanor is a misdemeanor. The words haven't changed that much over the time. After he's out of office, you go and arrest him. So there is no opportunity where the president of the United States can run rampant in January at the end of his term and just go away scot-free. The Department of Justice does know what to do with such people.
I find that really fascinating that one side is arguing that Donald Trump is good because he's president, but the same lawyers defending Donald Trump during the impeachment basically says this impeachment's ridiculous. If he actually committed a crime, there's an outlet for that. And
right. That's what they were all saying. That's what Mitch McConnell said too. That's what they were all saying when they voted against, impeaching him. It's like, the justice system's going to take care of it. And then they're like, no, the Senate's got to take care of it. Like,
yeah, now the Justice Department is taking care of it. And now you have attorneys that are arguing that shouldn't happen because he needs to be convicted by the Senate, or he needs to be.
That's like, they're so stupid. The Senate is literally a numbers game. So depending on who's in the majority depends on, that's why that's not the full stop legal way to go. It's not the fucking Senate, because we all know it's a numbers game. It's a gamble. It's who's the majority, who's in, who's out. Stop playing right now. It's not the law.
Yeah. Well, because Donald Trump was there, he actually had a response to the hearing after it was over. Are you interested to hear? You probably aren't interested to hear what he has to say, but we're going to.
I know.
Because we just have to. You and I are fair people. We think we should give him.
Do we think that? I mean,
no. We don't. No, because at this point, he's proven to be as moronic of a person as you could possibly be. And there's going to be more clips to even show that. Anyway, let's listen to Donald Trump's response to this hearing.
Well, I want to thank you all. And we had I thought, very momentous day in terms of what was learned and what they've conceded. They conceded two major points that were they were right in doing it. I don't think they had much of a choice, but they're very, very big, very powerful points.
Do you think there's any possibility he has any comprehension of what was said in any of that trial?
No, that's why he's saying very big, and the points and the very big, momentous, and fucking accurate.
He's using childlike language. He sounds like a sixth grader running for class president is what he sounds like.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing very well. I think it's very unfair when a political opponent is prosecuted.
It's unfair.
By the DOJ, by Biden's DOJ.
Okay, well, first of all, that's just not true. He's not prosecuted. All right, you could call it Biden's DOJ, but what he's doing is obviously leading people into thinking that Joe Biden sat down and goes, we can't run against Donald Trump, so please do whatever you can to get him indicted. Because even though I, as president, and Joe Biden, I'm so scared of him, even though I know he did absolutely nothing wrong, let's just make up some crazy charges and let's move forward with this.
That's not even Biden's DOJ. Like, who does Biden appoint? The fucking head of the DOJ? And that's it? Like, it's not his DOJ. He is separate from it. He doesn't even talk about it. Like, unlike Trump and Barr, this is the shit that drives me fucking nuts with these people. Oh my God.
Well, the thing I think that drives me nuts is that you are looking at two extremely intelligent people. You're looking at Brian Rundle and Lana Quest, and we're two very, very intelligent people. And the fact that we are continually having to talk about this fucking low intelligent, I mean, idiot who continues to speak. And the problem is that in any normal universe, anybody listening to him would be like, who is this guy and why are we even paying attention to him?
Right.
We have a minimum third of the country who does pay attention to him and thinks everything he says is golden.
Yeah.
All right, I'm right back.
So they're losing in every poll. They're losing in
the poll.
almost every demographic.
That's not true.
Numbers came out today that are really very mind-boggling if you happen to be Joe Biden.
What are the numbers?
And I think they feel this is
Right.
the way they're going to try and
Where?
win.
From where?
And that's not
Right.
the way it goes. And it'll be bedlam in the country. It's a very bad thing. It's a very bad precedent. As we said, it's the opening of a Pandora's box, and it's a very sad thing that's happened with this whole situation. When they talk about threat to democracy, that's your real threat to democracy.
What, the poll situation?
Yeah, let's understand, by the way, what Pandora's box means. What he's basically saying is that you did this to me, which he didn't, that if I win president, guess what's going to happen? I'm doing this to you. But again, he doesn't understand how the law works. He thinks because he's president that he's going to come up with, I mean, maybe he does somehow by some miracle and appoints the wrong people, comes up with some.
Right. I mean, have you read Project 20?
Yes.
Yeah. He's going to try to do it as best as he will. He's going to try. He's
Yeah.
going to shoot his shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And and maybe you know more than I do. Is this something that if he does do crazy shit, it gets to the Supreme Court? As crazy as the Supreme Court is right now, I'm not even sure they buy into this, because I have said, again, you made the point that they're not the greatest, and I agree with you, they're not, but they have not gone along with every single thing that Donald Trump, or at least he thinks they should go along with.
Right. Like certain things are just on its face. Like this right here, immunity thing, like it's to talk. I know that these people on these news stations, except for Fox, because they're probably not talking about it, probably feel stupid having to even talk about it or report about it. Like these attorneys and analysts, because why are we talking about this? He's not immune. It doesn't fucking make any sense.
But that's what we've talked about, though, Lana. We've talked about this a million times about how the news media feels like they got to both sides things and be fair. I think at some point
we're talk about it, right?
Yeah, we're close to a point where American democracy is either gone or it is saved. And if you're going to continue to swim in this pool of, you know what, we still have to be fair to Donald Trump because we don't want to look biased. It's not a matter of looking biased. It's a matter of looking like somebody that doesn't want to lose American democracy.
Right.
All right, let's finish up this idiot.
And I feel that as a president, you have to have immunity. Very simple. And if you don't, as an example, if this case were lost on immunity and I did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong,
why would you need immunity if you did nothing wrong?
Right.
He feels like he should have immunity, but for what? For nothing wrong?
What exactly? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well,
working for the country, and I worked on very hard on voter fraud because we have to have free elections. We have to have strong borders. We have to have free elections. Those two things, almost above all. And we found tremendous voter fraud. We have.
No, they didn't.
Of it. We have some
Here we
findings.
go. Oh my God, it's 2024. What in the entire...
Well, they found no voter fraud. And in fact, some of the voter fraud that I saw, some of it came from Trump voters. In fact, most of it, I think, came from Trump voters.
Yeah. And didn't just last week, the person that they hired, his people hired to investigate voter fraud, came out because he wrote a book saying he investigated it and found there was no voter fraud.
His own, you talk about Department of Justice. He keeps talking about Department of Justice. Right. So he picks and chooses what Department of Justice. His own Department of Justice literally came out and said, this is the safest election in the history of this country.
Correct. And like you said, his but he's where he is because the Republicans came and chose to speak out. Democrats have not gone after him. All this evidence is because of Republicans that are testifying, that have done hearings and depositions. Like, what is going on here? They keep saying Joe Biden's railroading him, but how?
These prosecutors are not fucking stupid. They've been doing this for longer than Donald Trump has been president. You know, they've been doing this for a very long time. So when they gather evidence and they gather witnesses, they gather evidence and witnesses that only pertain to what exactly they're prosecuting. And a lot of the, not a lot, nearly 100% of the witnesses are people that were either close to him, worked with him, worked for him. So these are all people that were assigned by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And here you and I are talking like we're being driven crazy when this should just be, like you said, on its face, already over with. This should be gone. This should have been done a long time ago in a normal, intelligent world, but we don't live in that world anymore.
No, because I know you must. Yeah, I know you got clips of these Trump people at that rally you went to. You have to have that.
I don't. Damn it. Now I feel all right. You know what? I'm starting off. We're starting over the show. We'll be back in 30 minutes. That, or I'm just gonna say I don't have it. All right. Do you want to finish this idiot up?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
But we found tremendous voter fraud, determinative voter fraud. But we worked on that. That's what I was doing.
Now I feel like I should have Trump voters talking. Damn it. All right. No, let's get back.
Yeah, because
They were talking about after. Well, nothing has to do with after I left. It was during the time. And that was what they really focused on today during the appeal. And they concede that, and everybody concedes that. And if it's during the time, you have absolute immunity. So we'll see how it all works out. We have.
Okay. You don't have absolute immunity. That is just absolutely ridiculous. And in fact, just on that clip that we heard earlier, you know, the judge is asking, can you murder somebody, have somebody murdered and you're fine? What if he raped somebody in office? What if he did, you know, are you telling me that he'd have to go through an impeachment first for raping somebody or murdering somebody? The judge also brought up whether or not if you sold pardons or you sold military secrets, if you sold any of that, you're telling me I have to wait for Congress?
Can you imagine that? Hey, blood on his hands because he just killed somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we're just going to wait until, you know, Congress gets their shit together and decides to, like, what?
Who else in the world could murder somebody other than like a Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un, whatever?
Right.
Who can murder somebody and you can wait on some other outcome to see whether or not you are? That is insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. So, right. So what? He's just free with no bail because can't do any of that because we got to wait for him to be.
He won the presidency, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I can't.
If that's the case, then why was Bill Clinton impeached?
Right.
If you can do whatever you want.
Right. I mean, Joe Biden might as well be a crime family. He's the president.
Right.
He might as well, Hunter, give him some illegal money. I don't know. He might as well do what y'all saying he's doing.
That's what I'm saying. You and I said that last week. If somehow, because this will go to the Supreme Court, whether or not they'll hear it or not is another issue. And I don't see why they wouldn't. You know, and if they rule
they don't
in
want to be
favor,
involved.
yeah, I mean, but this is as easy as a fucking case has ever been handed to them.
Yeah, they may not. Like, it doesn't even make any fucking sense for them to listen to this. Like, what the fuck is this?
I go back to sports a little bit. You ever watch sports and they have to go back and look at a review of a play? Yeah. This one would be where the ref just goes, "Oh yeah, this is easy. He dropped the ball," and that's what it would be for the Supreme Court.
Like, why did you waste your time out on this?
Yeah, exactly. This was dumb. Yeah, we got it. But so he mentioned the word, if everything basically doesn't work out his way, there could be bedlam, which is another dog whistle for the flying monkeys who are all jacked up and jazzed up and think that they're going to grab their guns or grab their fucking zip ties or whatever the fuck they do and get in their stupid little costumes and get all angry and pissed.
Right.
So a reporter asked him about that comment and about whether or not he would advocate violence in a way. And basically, this was his response.
Mr. President, you just used the word bedlam. Will you tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence?
Gone. So that's it. And even Harris, whatever her name is, even looked kind of like, oh, Jesus Christ. He didn't answer that question. That's not good.
Oh my God. Like I don't like listening to him because I always have these awful thoughts, right? Like you want it to be quiet. You want it to just fall off like the ground to open up and just swallow. Like
No doubt.
it's just, why is such evil on the planet? Like that is just stormed off like, because I don't care who dies. He just doesn't fucking like we know these people exist like that, but it almost seems like we're so close to it. It's almost like we're adjacent to it. And I don't even understand how that's so possible. Like maybe because we see him on TV all the time, maybe because he's just like a public figure. And normally like rapists and murderers and shit, we walk among them, but we don't know what they are. But we know it. He's like flaunting who he is.
He is sort of he resembles sort of a group of people in this country who feel like they are entitled to be angry about something. And they, they're the ones who always talk about entitlements, and they're the ones who always talk about other people and cancel culture, all that, whatever the fuck they talk about. But they feel like they're the ones, they feel like there's something against them when there isn't. I mean, on my side, with you, we're not against anybody. We just want everybody to be happy. That's all it is. I mean, if you're a Trump supporter, I want you to be happy, but you are living a miserable life because you're being suckered into thinking that you're being, I don't know, castrated from society.
Yeah. But they think we're the miserable ones because we're complaining, but it's just like, we're just trying to get you to see. And I was hoping that you had those clips of the rally because, the typical Trump supporters, they look like, and it's just like, one woman was saying like, Jesus died on the cross for us and Trump said he's getting indicted for us. And I'm just like, you ought to be a fucking ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
Even comparing the two.
Yeah.
Because you know for a fact that this man fornicated and cheated on his pregnant wife. That's one of the biggest no-nos of the whole fucking Bible.
But it's not in that party because Marjorie Taylor Greene's sleeping with people left and right while she's married. Lauren Boebert's fucking nuts.
It's just not happening. He's like the second coming. Like, are y'all fucking stupid? But yeah, you are. And people don't like calling them stupid, but and we talked about this. It's like a couple of groups of Trump supporters, like the ones that are just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I saw a whole black man today with his white adjacent girlfriend. No offense, whites, but that's kind of how.
Is it the January 6th girlfriend?
No, this is just one of his stupid rallies, because that's what happens with, like, if you notice, black people for Trump are normally adjacent to white people.
Yeah.
You don't have a black couple that are for Trump. It's always someone trying to be white adjacent. It's adjacent to that white supremacy.
Yeah.
So he could barely speak English. No offense, right? But I'm talking about a Trump supporter it would sound like he was from Nigeria or one of those African countries.
Yeah.
Trump, and I'm all along, I'm like, Trump doesn't fucking want you. Trump doesn't want you in this country. And you're here with a thick accent saying, people railroading him. That shit was wild.
Well, Lana, he does a great job of suckering people in this country who understand. Imagine how easy it is to sucker people who are not from this country.
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to. But another thing in that clip too, where the reporter asked him that we have not talked about is, Republicans are the personal responsibility. They're all, he asked them, will you tell your supporters? Like, what kind of fucking adult or what idiot do you have to be told whether or not to commit violence or not commit violence? I mean, how sad of a pathetic loser do you need to be told by some dude who laughs at you and thinks you're a fucking moron whether or not I'm ready to go when President Trump tells me to go? You're like, you are a fucking loser. You're a loser.
Yeah.
Just like the Dolphins. Can't be hypocritical here.
I was proud of the one woman who was at the J6 thing who keeps coming and talking. She keeps going on to different shows because she was at J6. She was pro-Trump and she's pissed fuck at Trump.
Yeah, no, I agree. I saw her and she was like, God damn, what was I think? But of course, look, I'm a dude and I'm happy to be a guy, but women are just smart. At some point they come to their senses and they're like, that was dumb.
Yeah, maybe being on the fucking ground with a bunch of insurrections stepping on her head and she's probably down there saying, help. And they looking at her like, bitch, get out the way.
No question. And then she walks in and she sees them shitting all over the place. And like, what are you guys doing?
Right. She had to be saved by the police. Police saved her. So she's like, yeah. Right. You're right. That's
we are in January of 2024. And again, this year, right now, we are the waters are somewhat calm, but we are in the boat and the waves are really starting to get a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to see it.
Right.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to get back to Donald Trump because I got more things to say about him and we've got more clips with him. But let's get to the president of the United States. By the way, happy January 6th or Insurrection Day. We just passed January 6th, which was one of the most disgraceful days in the history of this country, especially modern history, since Lana and I have been alive. For me, at least, this is possibly the most disgraceful day in American history. I don't know if there's anything else that can be compared to it. Am I forgetting anything, Lana?
No, in America?
As far as just being flat out disgraceful. And don't get me wrong, even when I'm alive, there's been some fucking disgraceful moments.
Now that was pretty bad. Like even, no, that was really bad.
Yeah. I mean, this was basically people who live in this country, who claim to be patriots, who claim to be Americans, who attacked their own country. And quite frankly, I am about had it with being gaslighted by people who are trying to explain to me that these were patriots, that these were people who love our country. These are not patriots. These are not people who loved our country. These are sad, pathetic morons who listen to another sad, pathetic moron because he is not man enough to accept the fact that he got the shit kicked out of him in an election. That's really what it comes down to.